Let us discuss how to write a simple assembly language programming using 8085. Suppose if the question is write a program to add two numbers. So let us start from very simple. Write a program to add two hexadecimal numbers like 05H and 0CH. Suppose if they give the number straight away. Suppose if the program starting address is 8000 and the memory location of 8000, we know what are the two numbers which are to be added. So I can move one number, move immediately A, 05 into the accumulator. So this is 8000, 8001, here 8002. I can put add immediate with the second data 0C, 2, 3, then 8004 is. I can store the result at the memory location of 8100, 456, 8007 is halt. So this is a very simple program to add two 8-bit numbers. Suppose if they give the number straight away. Now the result is stored at the memory location of 8100. Right? Now you know what is the opcode for this move immediate A, and we have to convert the opcode for add immediate and store accumulator. Then while entering the address, first you have to enter the lower order byte, then you have to enter the higher order byte. Then you can execute and you can see the result at 8100. But generally, we should not give the data within the program. Right? We have to separate the RAM into two areas. One is called program area, another one is data area. Suppose if the address slot available for us is 800297FF or something, right? So this is the address slot. I think we have already discussed how to interface a memory. This is the RAM location, or it may be 9FF. If you have 8K memory. Now the program you can start from writing 8000. Okay, it's the main program. And always we have to store the data in some other memory location. For example, the memory location of 8200, we can store the data. And the results can be stored in some other memory location. So, normally it is not a good practice to feed the data within the program area. Because whenever, see, in previous case we have written a program to add the two numbers. Now, if you want to add another two numbers, we have to go and change instead of 05 and 0C, you have to put another two numbers. So instead of changing 05, if you change the opcode for move immediate A, then entirely the result goes wrong. So normally the program, once if you develop a program, that should not be disturbed. So the program should get the data from the data area. So we must have two areas. One is called program area, another one is a data area. Now you assume that the two numbers are stored from the memory location of 8100 and 8101. Here you have the numbers of 05 and 0C stored. Your program starting address is 8000. And you have to store the result at the memory location of 8200. So this is the result where you want to store the result. This is data area. Here you have to write the program. Now you can write like this: LXI H, where we have the data, first data 8100. Okay. So what I can do, 8000, 1, 2, this is 8003. You can put move A, M. I am bringing the first data into accumulator. Now the second data is available at the memory location of 8101. Now the memory pointer is pointing 8100. The content of the HL pair is always used to point the memory. So at 8004, I can put IN or M. Now the content of HL pair is 8101, where we have the second data. The first data is already moved to accumulator. So here simply I can put add M. Now the first data will be added with the second data. The result is stored in the accumulator. Now you can store the result at the memory location of 8200, 678, 8009 is halt. Okay. So this is how we have to write a routine. We have to always fetch the number from the memory data area, then we have to add it. Now suppose if the question is like this, if there are two numbers which are stored in the memory location of 8100 and 8101, we should write a program to fetch the two numbers and you have to add and store the result at 8200. If the numbers are very less, so 05 and 0C, right, the result is within FF. Suppose if the numbers stored at 8100 and 8101 is FF and FF, while adding two 8-bit number, you may get a 16-bit result. So in that case, we have to check if there is any carry. So in that case, how will you write the program? Now the question is, there are two numbers which are stored in the memory location of 8100 and 8101. Write a program to add the two numbers and store the result in the memory location of 8200 and 8201. So this is the result area, this is the data area, and 8000 is the program area. Okay. So program starts with 8000. Now in this case, how can you write a program at the memory location of 8000? What I can do, first you can point where is the first memory location, 8100. Now we have to clear one register for storing carry. 8000, 8000, 8002, 8003. So I can write move immediate C, 00. I am clearing C register for what? To store carry. If the result exceeds more than 8 bit, then we may get a 16-bit result that should be stored. Now at 8005, 345, I can move the first data, move M to A, that is now the M is pointing 8100, the first data is moved into accumulator. In 8006, INR M, I am incrementing the memory pointer. In 8007, add M, the first data is added with the second data. In 8008, I have to check the carry flag. Jump on no carry. If there is no carry, suppose if the two numbers are 05 and 0C, there won't be any carry. Jump on no carry, it has to go to one place. So 89A in 8000B. If there is any carry, we have to increment the register which is allotted for carry flag. So if there is any jump on no carry means it will go to some other place. If there is a carry, the instruction which is followed by this instruction is executed. So INRC, I am incrementing the C register. Now anyhow, while adding the result, the lower order byte is available in the accumulator. So in 8000C, I have to store accumulator in the memory location of 8200, C, D, E, F. The higher order byte is stored in the C register because if there is a carry, I am incrementing the carry. So I can write move C to A, F 8010, store accumulator in the memory location of 8201, 101112, 8013 is halt. Now here if there is no carry, this is not supposed to be incremental. C register is not supposed to be incremental. So if there is no carry, the loop should come here. So here the loop address is jump on no carry. The output is C2. I should put 0C80. Now you can see I am pointing the first memory location, clearing the C register for storing the carry, moving the first data into accumulator, incrementing the memory pointer so that the memory pointer is pointing the second data, adding the first data with the second data, checking the carry. If there is any overflow, I am incrementing the C register, then storing the lower order byte into 8200. If there is no carry, straight away I am storing the lower order byte into 8200. If there is a carry, the value of C will become 1. So the C is moved into A, that is stored in 8201. If there is no carry, the C value will be 00. So the result, suppose if in this case 050C, the result is C, then C, D, DEF1011. So the 11H is stored. But at the memory location of 8200, you have 11. At the memory location of 8201, you will get 00. Instead of saying the result is 11, I am going to display 0011. Nothing is wrong. But if the data is like this, FF and 05, FF and 05, you add these two data 111, 1111, 0000, 0101. If you add it, 11 is 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. You have a carry. Now the result is 0104. Hexadecimal. This is 16-bit number 0104. So in this case, suppose if the memory location 8100 consists of FF and the 8101 consists of 05, whenever you add these two numbers, the result is 0104. Now that 04 is stored at the memory location of 8200. The 01 is available at C. We are incrementing the C register by 1. Again, the C is moved into A, that is stored at 8201. So that the 01 is stored at the memory location of 8201. Here you will get 04, here it is 01. So now the result is 0104. Okay. So whenever you add two numbers, you have to check the carry flag also. Let us take another generalized program for adding a set of numbers. Okay. If the question is like this, write a program to add a set of hexadecimal numbers which are stored from 8101. We don't know how many numbers are there. H. The number of numbers, or you can say the count, how many numbers are to be added, is stored in 8100. Okay. Then store the result in 8200 and 8201. This is the most generalized program. The question is, write a program to add a set of hexadecimal numbers which are stored from the memory location of 8101. They have given how many numbers are to be added. The previous case you have taken only two numbers. No? That is also stored in the memory location of 8100. So at the memory location of 8100, you have a count how many numbers are to be added. If the count value is 5, then you have 5 data from 8101 to 8105. Here if you have the number is 8, there will be 8 data from 8101 to 8108. So this is also stored in memory. The count and everything is stored in memory. Now we have to write a program to fetch the count as well as the data, and we have to write a program to add all the set of numbers and store the result at the memory location of 8200 and 8201. Now let us start the program area is 8000. So I have to write LXIH 8100. 8100 only we have the count. I am pointing the memory at the memory location of 8100. 0012 03. I am moving this into C register counter. Okay, now the C register will act as a counter. Okay. Now 8004, just I am clearing accumulator. For clearing accumulator, there are XOR A is the instruction for clearing accumulator. Exclusive OR the content of accumulator with the accumulator. So as far as the exclusive OR gate is concerned, if the inputs are same, the output is 0. So obviously the result will be 0. The another instruction which is used for clearing accumulator is move immediate A, 0, 0. But if you use this instruction, it will require two machine cycles. one opcode fetch and one data move. Here it consists of only one machine cycle. So while writing a program, you have to save the memory. Okay, instead of moving it A, you both do the same work, but this is a 2-byte instruction, this is a single byte instruction. So we have to prefer the single byte instruction, XRAA. I am clearing accumulator. Now 8005. That cleared value is moved into B register also. The cleared value is moved into B. That is, I am initially saying B. So this is a counter value. Okay. The clearing accumulator. Clearing B for storing carry. Storing carry. Okay. Now where is the first data which is available in the memory location of 8101? So I am incrementing the memory where I have the first data. Now 8007 add M. So the first data is added with the accumulator where initially the accumulator is cleared. Okay. Now I am checking the carry flag. Jump on no carry. Jump on no carry. You have to skip this instruction. If there is a carry, we have to increment the register which is allotted for carry, INRB. If there is no carry, we have to skip it. So 89A, this is 8000B. So this is 8000C. Jump on no carry. Now this loop should come here, 8000C. Okay. So I am pointing the memory where the counter is there. The counter value is moved into C register. Accumulator is cleared. The cleared value of accumulator is moved into B register. That means the B is also cleared for storing the carry. I am incrementing the memory pointer where I have the first data. Now add M. The first data is added with the accumulator. Previously the value of the accumulator is 0. Now I am checking the carry. There is a carry. The register which is allotted for the carry flags will be incremented. Then we have to come to the instruction. Next instruction. If there is no carry, you are not supposed to increase. This instruction is to be skipped. So directly come here. So here if you come here, what is the meaning? The first data is added. So I am going to decrement the register which I have allotted for the storing the counter, DCRC. Suppose the memory location of 8100, I have a data of 05 and 8101, I have a data 01, 06, FF, FE, 0E. Like this, I have 5 data. Now the first data 01 is added with 00. Since I have added the first data, I am decrementing. The value of 5 is stored in C register. I am decrementing C. Now the value of C will become 4. Okay. Now I am checking C 800D. Jump on no 0. Jump on no 0. If the 0 flag is not set into 1, where you have to go? You have to go back to INR. I have to get the next data and add. Next data and add. Okay. So first time, initially I am storing the value of 5 here. So after adding the first data, the value of C will become 0. So the 0 flag is not set into 1. So it will go back here. Now INR M. So what will happen? Now the memory will be pointing with 8102 where I have the second data. So now the add M means what will happen? The first data will be added with the second data. It will check the carry. If there is no carry, straight away will come here. Now the value of C will become 03 because 02 because we have added the second data. Now the result is not 0, so it will go back and fetch the third data, where the third data is FF. So FF will be added with the previous value of 01 and 06. Here also we are checking the carry. Whenever you add 7 with FF, you will get a carry. So the B register will be also incremented. Then we come to DCRC. Now that means what? The C value will become 03. So previously the value of C is 05. After fetching one data, 1 will be decremented. Second data, 2 will be decremented. Third data, it will decrement again by 1. Like that, this loop will be repeated. Whenever you are fetching the fifth data, all the 5 data have been added, the content of C will become 00. So in that case, the 0 flag is set into 1. If the 0 flag is not set into 1, it will go back to incrementing memory. If it is set into 1, it will come down. If the result becomes 0 during the operation of DCRC, the 0 flag is set into 1. It will indicate that all the 5 data have been added. Now where is the result? The lower order byte result is available in the accumulator. The higher order byte result is available in the B register. Just now you have to store the data 800 DEF. So 8010 here. Store accumulator at 8200 1011 12. So where is the higher order byte? It is available in B register. So B to A, again 8014. Store accumulator in the memory location of 8201 141516 8017 is halt. Finished. This is the more generalized program for adding a series of 8-bit numbers, 8-bit hexadecimal numbers. Here we have assumed that the number of numbers to be also added is also available in the memory. The actual numbers are also in the memory. We have fetched the count as well as the data. If there is a carry, we are given the provision. So whatever may be the number, this program will works good. Okay, this is a more generalized program. Now the question may be, add a set of decimal numbers. Now suppose if the question is, write a program to add a set of decimal numbers. The previous case, generally in assembly language program, if you type a number, it will take it as hexadecimal number. But right? Suppose you are developing a program for petrol bulk, right, by using an embedded controller, right? If a customer wants to have 10 liters, after 9 you have to display as 10. If you display as 0A, since if you are using microprocessors and microcontrollers, if you display 0A letters, then he won't be paying the money. So if the question is write a program to add a set of decimal numbers, in that case what you have to do is, the same program can be used as it is. Here after INRB, you have to include one instruction called DAA. This is called decimal adjust accumulator. Decimal adjust accumulator. This automatically adjusts the hexadecimal value into decimal value. You need not do anything. Just after INRB, you have to insert the instruction called DAA. This is available. The instruction is available in 8085. Okay, how the DAA functions, we must know. Apart from that, if you use the same program as it is and if you include this instruction, you will get a decimal. Here, if the number is 5 means you can give 5 decimal numbers, it will give you the result. What is the addition of all the 5 decimal numbers. Okay. Now we must know how the DAA functions. Okay. Decimal adjust accumulator functions. How it is possible to adjust the hexadecimal number into decimal number. Suppose you want to add the two numbers 09 and 02. Let us take a very simple numbers. So it will be 09 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 1 is 09. 02 is 0 0 0 1, sorry, it is 0 0 1 0 is 02. If you add these two numbers, 1 and 0 is 1, 0 and 1 is 1, 0 0 is 0, 1 and 0 is 1, then 0 0 0 0. Now what is the value here? If you use a simple microprocessor kit for adding these two numbers, you will get the result as 0, this is B. Now suppose if the two numbers are decimal numbers, we have to get the result as 09 plus 02 is 11. We have to get as 11. So how the 0B is adjusted into, suppose if I write a program of like this, move immediate A, 09, add immediate with 02, store accumulator in some memory location, halt. Now if I go to the memory location, I can see the result as 0B, 02. Now after ADI2, I can include DAA, then store accumulator memory location, some hexadecimal memory location halt. If I write like this, no, DAA, if I go and see the result, I will get the result as 1 1, not like 0B. So now let us see how the DAA is used to convert this 0B into 1 1. Okay, it is based on the two rules. Number one is, whenever the DAA is executed, it will check the lower order nibble value. If the value is more than 9, or if there is any auxiliary carry from this lower order nibble to higher order nibble, it will add +6 with the lower order nibble. Here you see the result is more than, the lower order nibble value is more than 9, so +6 will be added with the lower order nibble. Rule number 2 is similarly to check the higher order nibble. If the value is more than 9, or if there is any carry, a +6 will be added with the higher order nibble. Here you can see, as far as the higher order nibbles, the result is only 0 0 0. So it need not add 6 with the higher order nibble. So if you add 0 6 with this lower order nibble, now you add 1 plus 0 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 0, again 1 carry, 1 plus 1 is 0, again 1 carry, 1 plus 0, again 1 carry, 0 plus 1 is 1, 0 0 0. Now you can see that the value is 1 1 H, 1 1 H. So this is how the hexadecimal number is adjusted into a decimal number. Let us take another program. It is a more simple program. Write a program to generate a stable multivariate or a square wave generator or monostable multivariate. So in this way you can write a program. Okay. Let us take how to generate a square wave from 8085 microprocessor. So in the case of 8085, right, you have pin number 4. You see, pin number 4, they call it as SOD pin, that is serial out data. Pin number 5 is known as SID, serial in data. In order to control these two pins, there are two instructions are used. One is called SIM, set interrupt mask. Another one is RIM, read interrupt mask. If you execute SIM, what will happen? Before you execute SIM, you have to set the accumulator value. So in accumulator, this last MSB is known as SDE, serial data enable. This is called SID bar SOD pin, and these bits are used for controlling the interrupts. Let us forget this bits. We don't want to bother about these bits. Now if you execute SIM, what will happen is, suppose this is SDE, serial data enable, this is SID bar SOD pin. Now whenever you execute SIM, what will happen is, if the value of SDE bit is 1, the data available in the MSB of the accumulator, either it may be 0 or 1, that will be available in the 4th pin of the processor. This is 5th pin. Now suppose if I set like this, 0, 1, 0, 0, these bits are don't care, 0, 0, 0, 0. Now the data is 40, 40. Now we can write the program like this. See, move immediate A, 40, SIM. Now what will happen is, since this SDE bit is set into 1, this 0 is available at the 4th pin of the processor. This may be connected with the signal pin of CRO. The ground of CRO should be connected with the ground, VSS of ground. Now CRO should be connected with the ground of 8085. Okay. Now in square wave, you have off time and on time. This is what they call it as square wave. The on time must be equal to off time. So we know what is the off time. Now we have set the value is 0, so the output will be 0. This should be retained for some time, which is equal to the off time of the square wave. So I have to go for calling a routine called delay. After the time is over, I have to move the high data into the SOD bit. So in order to set the bit, the data should be set this SOD bit must be high. This is also must be high, the serial data enable bit, and these are all don't care. So this is called SDE, serial data enable. This is called SID or SOD bit. Whenever this is 1, if you execute SIM, this value is available in the 4th pin of the processor. Now you see, now this is 1. If you move this data in the accumulator, what is the data? This is C0. So move immediate A comma C0, then SIM. If I execute here, SIM, what will happen? Since this SD is 1, this 1 is available at the 4th pin of the processor. So now the level will be raised. Now this should be retained for some time, which is equal to on time of the micro square wave. So again I have to call the delay. After the delay period is over, again I have to move the low data. It should be written for some time which is equal to the off time of the square wave. Then this should be repeated in order to get the continuous square wave. So what I can do, if you want to get the continuous square wave, after this you can put like this, jump to start. Here is the start, So I am moving the low level data, outing at the pin, calling delay for off time, moving the high level data, outing to the pin, calling the delay for on time, then I am repeating it. So continuously you may get a square wave. Now, if you want to generate a rectangular waveform, what you have to do? You may have a separate delay program for on time and separate delay program for off time. So if the on time is more, so you may have delay 1 and delay 2. So delay 1 is maybe for 10 milliseconds, delay 2 is for 30 milliseconds. So what will happen is you will get a rectangular waveform. So like this, any kind of waveforms can be generated. This is what they say, it's a simulation of a stable multivibrator. Without giving any trigger pulse, it is generating a waveform. Okay. Similarly, another problem can be given like this. Write a program to simulate a monostable multivibrator. Monostable multivibrator. So again, for simulation of monostable multivibrator, so a multivibrator is one which can exist indefinitely in either one of its two stable states, and which can be induced to make an abrupt transition from one stable state to another by means of an external excitation. In the case of monostable multivibrator, if a trigger input is received, from the output pin we have to generate one pulse. For sensing the trigger input, we can make use of the pin number 5 of 8085, that is SID pin. This is for sensing the trigger input. Once if the trigger is received, in order to generate the pulse, we can make use of the 4th pin of microprocessor, which is called SOD. Again, we have to make use of the same instruction called SIM and RIM. See, we can write a program of like this, 8000. First I can read the status of this 5th pin, whether I am getting a trigger or not. So the instruction is RIM, read interrupt mask. What will happen is, once if this instruction is executed, the input which is given to the pin, which will be written at the MSB of the accumulator. This is the accumulator content. So here the status is written, set status, that is serial input data. If there is a trigger input, one level, it will be set into 1. If there is no trigger, it will be set into 0. So I have to check this MSB of the accumulator, whether it is 1 or 0. So after, once if you execute RIM instruction, this MSB of the accumulator consists of the status of the input signal which is given through 5th pin of the microprocessor. Now we have to check the status of the MSB of the accumulator, whether it is 1 or 0. If it is 1, it means that it has received the trigger. If it is 0, it has not yet received the trigger. So in this case, checking the MSB and immediate with 80. What will be the data 80? 100000000. Now I am ANDing this 80 with the content of the accumulator. So this is called masking. See, this is the content of the accumulator. Here is the value of MSB. And all other bits are ANDed with 0. So voluntarily I am masking all other bits except MSB. Now if the MSB is 0, again 1 and 0 will become 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Suppose if the value of MSB is 1, I will get a non-zero value. So if the trigger is received, the MSB is set into 1. So if the 0 flag is not jump on 0, if the 0 flag is set into 1, that means if there is no trigger, it will be set into 0. So the outcome is 0. So jump on 0, if there is no trigger, you go back and read the status again and again. Okay, the loop will be repeated. Suppose if there is a trigger, you will get a non-zero value, it will come out from the loop. Now, at the 5th pin of the the 4th pin of the microprocessor, that is a SOD line, we have to out one pulse, we have to generate a pulse. So for that, the instruction is this SIM. That is already we have discussed. This is the last but one bit is called SDE, serial data enable. This is SID bar SOD pin. Whenever this bit is 1, if you execute SIM instruction, the content of the MSB of the accumulator is available at the SOD pin. Now you will set the value of the content of the MSB is 1, the SD is 1, these are all don't care. So I will get the data as C0. So once if I get the trigger, I will move immediate A, C0 SIM. So one pulse will be generated, one output pulse will be generated, and again I can call a delay for some time. Okay. Then again I can make this pin as 0. So again 0. Okay. Again this one is 0, but the serial data enables will be 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So again the data what I get is 40. Moment A, 40, SIM. Again I make it as low. Now for one trigger pulse it will generate. We will give output from the SOD. One pulse will be generated. So after this is over, just again I can put jump to start. So that it will again start to checking the second trigger pulse. If you give a second trigger pulse, again one pulse will be generated from the output pulse will be generated from the 4th pin of the 8085. So this is what they say how to simulate a stable multivator. So here in these kind of programs, here we are writing a delay routine. Delay routine in any software. Even in later we are going to discuss how to write a program for traffic control. So if one road, right? If I want to make glow green light, this green light should glow for some time. After that, we have to change it to yellow. That should be for very few seconds. Then we have to make glow red light. So for every light, there is a standard time. It is based on the requirement and based on the traffic. We have to get the input from the traffic constables, and based on that, we have to write program. In all the 4 states, you have green, red, yellow. That we will discuss later. So here you see, once if you switch on the light, it has to glow for some time, which is pertaining to that particular signal. Okay. So here, that how to withstand that state for some time, there comes the delay routine in square wave. So this is the square wave. So we out at high level data, it should be retained for some time, which is equal to on time of the square wave. Then we out a low level data, this should be retained for some time, which is equal to off time of the square wave. So how to get this period? That is what they call it as writing delay routine. Delay routine. So for writing delay routine, what you have to do is, you take any register, you load the register, with some value, then decrement the register. Then you check is the value equal to 0. If it is no, again you go back and decrement. Yes means you can come down. Okay. So I am loading something. Suppose you take a register C, move immediate C, comma F. What is the decimal equivalent of F? It is 255. I am loading a count 255 into C register. Decrement C, I am decrementing the content of this register by 1. And I am checking the 0. Jump on, no 0. If the 0 flag is not set into 1. So first time it will become FE. The 0 flag is not set into 1. So it will go back and decrement again. Second time it will become FD, FC, FB, FA, F0 like that. 255 will become 254, 253, 252 like that. It will become 0. So whenever it becomes 0, it will come from the loop. So until we are loading one number, we are giving the microprocessor some useless work. We are loading some number, we are decrementing one by one until it is becoming 0. So here how we can get a delay for executing each and every instruction, the microprocessor will take some time. That time is taken as the delay time. Okay. Now if you take that move immediate C, comma FF. Move immediate C, comma FF. DCR C. Jump on no 0 to DCR C. So you must know how to calculate the execution time of this program. For each and every instruction, if you take the move immediate C, comma FF, it has 2 machine cycles. And it has 7 T state, one opcode fetch and one memory read, 7 T state. So the T states required are 7. Here the T state required is 4. Here the T state required is 10 bar 7. 10 bar 7 means if it is true it is 10, if it is false it is 7. Jump on, if the 0 flag is not set into 1, it will go back and repeat it. So that time the T state is 10. Otherwise the T state is 7. Now here you can see another instruction is return, that subroutine should end with the instruction called RET, then only it will go back to the main program. So here it requires 4 T state. Now how to calculate the execution time? See here you see, if you consider this program, here 2 instructions are outside the loop, 2 instructions are inside the loop. So the total time delay, is given like this, that is T0 plus TL, where T0 is the delay due to the instructions which are outside the loop. T0 is the delay due to the instructions which are outside the loop. TL is the delay due to the instructions which are inside the loop. These are T0 plus TL. Now, if every microprocessor is given with a clock, so let us assume that the F is given as 2 megahertz. Now the time taken to execute these 2 instructions, you add the T0 is given by number of T states multiplied by system clock period. So in this case, 7 plus 4 outside the 11 multiplied by 1 by 2 into 10 power minus 6. So it is around 5.5 microseconds. Okay. So if F is 2 milliseconds, then T is 2 megahertz, 1 by 2 into 10 power minus 6. System clock period. Okay. Now if you calculate TL the same way, number of T states within the loop, multiplied by system clock period multiplied by, that is N10. N10 is the, so you see this loop is repeated for 255 times. That is the decimal equivalent of the hexadecimal count which is loaded into the register, where N10 is decimal equivalent. That is, we are repeating the loop that much time. The decrement C jump on no 0 will be repeated based on the count which is loaded here. If the count loaded is 255, it will be repeated 258 times. So we are calculating number of T states into system clock period one time multiplied by how many times it is repeated. So where N10 is given by the decimal equivalent of the hexadecimal number which is loaded in the register. So in this case, what is the value f of? So if you calculate the value of f of into decimal, it is 255. That is, the N10 value is 255. So how to calculate? 4 plus 10 is 14. 14, I will write here. 14 into system clock period is 1 by 2 into 10 power minus 6 multiplied by 255. So this is what they say TL, the time delay within the loop. So the total time delay we have to add T0 plus TL. So this is how we have to calculate the delay. Now, if you take even FF, right, the delay may not be sufficient. So they normally use a register pair to write a delay program. So if you want to use a register pair, no, this is the procedure. That is, you can use any pair, LXI, B. I can move upon the F of DCXB. And this is a load immediate the BC pair with the value of F of. DCXB means decrement the register pair by 1. DCXB is different, DCRB is different. DCRB is decrementing one register by 1. DCX is decrement the register pair by 1. But the important thing is, if you look into the flag content, for the instruction DCXB, no flags are altered. Even the value becomes 0, the 0 flag will not be set into 1. So because of this, what you have to do is, after decrementing 1, you have to move the content of C into A. Then we have to OR the data with B. This is the value of B and C. I am moving this C to A and I am ORing this with B. So when I will get 0, if both the content become 0, then only I will get the 0 value. So jump on no 0, go back and decrement and return. So now here you can see that there are multiple instructions are within the loop, and this loop is repeated. The decimal equivalent of 4F, F of is 65,535. 65,535. So you will get an enormous delay. Even this delay is not sufficient. You can put a loop here. I can put here move immediate D comma some count FF. Then before return, then LXIB, DCXB, move it C comma A comma C over A B, jump on 002. This will be repeated 65,535 times. After, whenever the count of the value which is available in BC becomes 0, to come out from the loop. Here I can go for decrement D. Jump on no 0, go back and repeat this. So this loop can be repeated 255 times. It will come out from the loop, I am decrementing by 1. Jump on no 0, again I am loading the value of BC with 4Fs. Then again the value becomes BC becomes 0, this loop is repeated. So once if the value of the register pair BC becomes 0, it will come out from the loop. Now I am decrementing C again by 1. So it will become 254. Again the loop will be repeated. So this loop is repeated 255 times. This is 55,535. So this is how we can write a program that is using loop within the loop to generate a delay time. But generally in programming they will ask you write a delay program for getting 2 millisecond delay. So in this case what you have to do, the total time delay is given by T0 plus TL we know. Now you should write a program of like this. So for example you see, let us take a simple case. Move C comma A over A, jump on O0 to D6D and return. So now before this, I am not supposed to load the value. You write this code and you know this is what is the T state for this. How many T states? 10 T states, 4 T states, 4 T states, 4, 10 and 4. So suppose if they give F is 2 megahertz, you write everything T0 plus TL, you compute everything, you know T0, the number of T states outside the loop, into system clock period. This is T0. What is TL plus? TL is same thing. T states within loop multiplied by system clock period multiplied by n10. Now you know, suppose if the question is write a program to generate 10 millisecond delay, this is known. Instead of TL, we know what is this 10 millisecond, 10 into 10 power minus 3, which is equal to this value. This is known, number of T states we know, system clock period is 1 by 2 into 10 power minus 6. We know how many T states are within the loop, 4 plus 4, 8, 12, 22. And system clock period is again 1 by 2 into 10 power minus 6. The unknown value is n10. So from this formula, you can find out what is the value of n10. That is the decimal equivalent of the hexadecimal number which is to be loaded here. After finding the n10, you convert this decimal value into hexadecimal number. You load that number here. Suppose if the number is 1 of F0, you load it like this. So that you may get a 10 millisecond delay. This is how a delay program can be written.